Often when people hear about what I do, I often get surprised. Well, first that there are blacksmiths still around, but also when they find out that I make a lot of jewelry out of iron, they are also surprised. I do think that many have the view of a blacksmith that blacksmiths are only making a rough work, rough and heavy, large items. But that's not always the case, even if it was. Jewelry might not have been the first. The main thing that blacksmiths did back in the day, so that is probably why that picture is around. But I think that iron, when it's forged, it gets a beautiful look, and definitely something to take advantage of, and it can be used in jewelry making. Today I'm gonna forge a pendant. A rune pendant. I'm gonna light up the forge. I think that people have always had the need to express themselves. I mean, jewelry has been around for a long time, and we still have the same need. And there is something special about handmade items. Like a handmade item that is shaped to match a vision that you have to express yourself. It is still important. And making these custom-made pendants is like putting a rune or some custom engravings. It makes the expression even more powerful, and I really like doing that and be able to give that to people. So what I do first here is to isolate the material, what will become the pendant. Something like that. I am starting from a 2 centimeter wide iron bar, and it's 5 millimeter thick. And I made the shoulder here 4 centimeters in on the anvil. And the reason I do it this way is that I can keep the pendant on the stock until it's finished, almost. and therefore I don't need to hold this with a tongue while working, which is preferred to have the working piece attached to the stock as long as possible. Next up is to cut away some material to decorate the bottom of the pendant. Here it's always a little bit of guessing and forging the piece upside down. This could also be done with a chisel, of course. Might be easier actually. But this is how I have always done it, and therefore I keep doing that. So we can see here I need to adjust this one. It's not very symmetrical. But I am going, as you noticed, I did peen out. So it's now 25 millimeters wide here at the bottom. And I am going to leave these forging hammer marks from the peen, because I find that beautiful. So when I'm forging the end and making it more symmetrical, I'm simply holding it and hammering towards myself. It's getting better. One thing that I find helps when looking at symmetry, I think it was Da Vinci who mentioned it too. I read something about it. Anyway, it really helps to look at the working piece from all angles. I think he said that you should look at your work in a mirror, but looking at it from both the front side and the back side you can, for some reason, you can tell more, you can see more easy where the adjustments are needed. It might be obvious, but for some, but I didn't do that in the beginning. And when I started to turn the piece and look from every angle, then I started to see where it needed adjustments. At the next stage, I'm gonna use a guillotine tool, and I have these V-shaped dies, and I am going to make a hollow in the pendant for a loop. I will forge the loop out of a separate piece. So I'm placing my pendant in and carefully here so I don't go too deep. That's enough, and I'm also gonna cut it off at the same time. So now this piece is almost finished. I will make this part, the very end here, a bit wider, and also engrave the rune, of course, but that is something I will do while the pendant is cold. So I will take it off from the stock. like this. And I'm going to put my maker's mark on it. Here we have the maker's mark, and then I'm gonna make the rune as well. Starting at the ends, so I've got something to aim for. Want a line in the center here. I think this one is too long, so I will change to a smaller. This might be too small on the other hand. Something that used to, when having a short chisel like this, and making a longer line, what used to help is to lightly tap on the chisel and let it kind of jumping in the mark you are making, and that usually evens out the line and makes it more clean. So the next thing I'm gonna do is to forge the loop for the pendant, and I'm using a 3mm thick round wire, and here I'm gonna cut it up from the stock, even if I just said that I want to keep it as long as possible, but this 3mm is so soft anyway, so it won't help me. So therefore I'm cutting it off to the right length, and it shall be 75mm. And I'm gonna make a short taper and a scroll and some bends. I'm forging with light taps, very thin material, so or relatively thin, so easy to burn and doesn't need much force, so fast and light taps. I will use the file here and just take out any sharp corners. When I did cut it off, it's quite sharp here on the top, so I will use the file. And here I also can, if there is any adjustments needed, for the symmetry here. I can adjust that as well. This looks good, so I'll just take out any edges. Feels good. No sharp. There I have something. Needs to be. That looks good. So now I'm gonna take the loop that I prepared. I'm gonna put this in the vise and heat up the loop and wrap it around and use the scrolling tongs to shape the loop for the necklace. So I'm looking that the scroll is in the right place, locking it in, and then I bend it or wrap it around. It still looks good. And this part here shall be 3 centimeters, and it is 3 centimeters. That used to give a good size on the loop. And for making the loop for the necklace, I'm simply gonna use a scrolling tongs and bend it like this. Looking that everything is tight and this in place. So this is finished almost. I will make a linseed oil coating on this one, so it gets a bit of protection and also this beautiful black color. But before I do that, I will attach a ring onto the loop here out of iron. Earlier I did use cotton cord for these pendants, and while it is good, it's still... I got a couple of customers coming back, like after 2 years of daily wearing a pendant, the cord got worn out, and I think it deserves something better, simply. So therefore I will use a stainless steel chain, which I am now using for the pendants I'm making. And the stainless steel chain and everything is soldered, so that should definitely hold up for a lifetime, which is the goal of everything I make. I want them to be able to to be given to the next generation or coming generations. So I will do that before I do the coating, because the ring will also have, so they match each other. These are quite small, so I don't know how well they can be seen on camera, but hopefully. I got the ring in place, and I'm gonna make this, hold it like this. And I am using silver solder. And I'm using I don't know what the technique is called, but what I do is I cut a tiny piece of the solder. For a scarf like this, it doesn't take much, so as little as possible. Then I will pick it up with this tool here, and when heating the ring, getting it to right temperature, I will put the solder with this tool, place it on the scarf, and then it will solder. And this is a very useful technique when making small pieces, or soldering small detailed pieces. And these are also thin material. Oh, I will need flux as well. Borax can be used here, but I am using a flux. I'm not sure what else it is in the flux, but it is a bit, since I'm soldering stainless steel, which can be a bit difficult to solder if you not have the right flux. So I have now picked up a tiny piece on this tool here, and I'm heating up the ring. And when I see it's the right temperature, I place it on top, and then it melts and it's soldered. And these are extremely strong. I have made tests, and even if this is 1mm wire, so the contact area is quite small, but it is almost like solid. It's really strong. I will take the file and remove a little bit of the solder, since the scarf is so, or the joint is so small. It's easy to get a little bit too much, and since it's silver on iron, it will be visible. So therefore I'm using the file to make sure that the solder is only in the joint and not on top of the rest of the ring. And it also removes the flux, which is important. It can stick quite hard onto the material, and it's important to get it removed, otherwise it will rust more easily, and that also applies to stainless steel. So after soldering stainless steel, it's very important to get the flux, get rid of the flux. And that's easily done by, now I'm using the file, but what I will do on the chain is to just soak it in soapy water for a while, and then that will take care of it. Then I can brush it off. It's even better if the water is warm. And doing a control here, looking that the all is gone. Got a little bit left there. The flux is turning into, it's like glass, so it's quite brittle. If you make larger bracing, larger pieces, it's often possible to tap with the hammer and it will remove that way. But this looks good. This pendant is now finished, and I will solder the chain as well. And then I will make the coating on the engine. Set the same procedure. Now it's even more. It's of course always important to get the flux, but on stainless it's even more important. Heating up the ring. And placing the solder on top. There I did miss. So the solder was floating just to one side of the joint. I think I also had that it did float to this side, and that might be because I have this lock, the lobster claw lock hanging on this side, which means that the joint was probably slightly cooler on this side, since the lock was sucking the heat out, and therefore the solder always travels to the hotter part, so therefore it went there. But yeah, now I have it fixed, and I will put these in soapy water, let the flux so it's easier to remove, and while it's soaking I will make the linseed oil coating. I have cleaned the pendant on a bench grinder. I have a wire wheel on it to remove the scales. So the oil sticks to the iron itself and not just in the scales. And I have my linseed oil here, and I simply placing the pendant on top of the coals here, and I used to go to a temperature. I am again determining the temperature on the color, and I used to normally go until it's blue and right the next after the blue color leaves the pendant. Then I used to quench it. I put the whole piece in the oil and let it be for a couple of seconds, and the color can be best seen where I did the filing, because that's where the clean part is. And now it's getting blue, the loop, so I'm soon getting there. I don't want to have it too hot, because then For some reason it doesn't stick very well. So I'm a bit careful. It could be that if you get it too hot, it will build up scale and then it won't stick. So that looks good. You could see a white smoke coming up, and that is a good sign. And what I used to do is pick it up and simply use the air compressor and blow the excess oil from the pendant. This is still hot, but it looks good. So I will let it cool down, attach the chain, and then we can take a closer look at it.